Hope you guys enjoy those shots of the New York City skyline. Of course, that's where we are right now here at the MLG studios. I'm Axel Toss, joined by Axlive. We're currently watching the second group stage of the round of 32, trying to find out which two gentlemen are going to advance on into the round of 16. We're in the first match. It's Nestea versus Minigun. Nestea is currently up 1-0, and Minigun has some work to do, and I'm hitting the start game button.
Yes, of course. You know, one thing that was cool about that first game is Nestea almost reading Minigun like a book. He knew exactly what Minigun would do at every point of the game. He was totally ready for that attack with the spine roll. He was ready for the muteless transition. I think if Minigun is going to take out Nestea, those timings are not going to work. Nestea is such a veteran of the game, but where Minigun excels in addition to timings, is Minigun is one of the better Turtle Protosses out there. And this is a great map to play that Turtle Protoss style. And
it looks like the 2-0 will go.
Wow, that was fast, man.
I was a joke. I'm kidding. Obviously, we had Minigun.
A little game error there.
Yep. So we're going to get that restarted very quickly, guys. But yeah, go on about your point. How does Minigun take game 2 here?
So one of the things we saw, at least in the top Kree level, where Nestea started to fall off against the top Koreans, was in the late games, right? When it came down to where you really have to micromanaging those key spellcaster units. Back then it was Infestors, and nowadays it could be Vipers, Swarm Host positioning, also Infestors. That's the situation that Minigun, if you guys watch his stream or if you've played him a lot, like I've seen so many Minigun games, Minigun's specialist unit control is exceptional. If he can get past that mid-game crazy multitasking era where Nestea excels, which is macro multitask, and get into the late game where it's all about controlling your specialist units, that's the type of game Minigun wants.
So, you know, obviously the main worry that I've heard from Minigun is the Mutalisks. Ironically enough, of course, the Muta having a very central role in that game number 1, and Minigun is telling me that he doesn't know how to deal with that necessarily. So does he have to open Stargate or something to make sure that doesn't happen?
You know, I don't know if he should open Stargate, because a Stargate can be a great counter to the Mutalisks. But if you go Phoenixes to deal with Mutalisks, you're getting into that multitasking macro mode where you gotta control your air units, you gotta control your ground units, you macro up your 3 bases. Doing all 3 of those at the same time is a situation where a player like Nestea excels in. I think maybe just doing a super turtley style, and really just going for storms in like insanely turtle mode, playing it very slow, might be the better approach.
You know, this might be a map for that. Akalon ways you can get 3 bases very comfortably. They're very safe locations, so we'll have to see what happens here in this game number 2. In the top left-hand location, we have the blue Zerg player representing Team Incredible Miracle. He's up 1-0 in this best of 3. He's 1 win away from advancing to the winner's match of Group E. He is Nestea. I promise all of that rhyming was not intentional. His opponent in the bottom right-hand location is the red Protoss player representing Team Root Gaming and the United States of America, considered the underdog in this match. He must win 2 in a row to advance to the winner's match. He is Minigun. Also, if you are enjoying this user interface, huge shout out to Blizzard for being so kind as to provide us with this awesomeness. There's so much more space for activities, I think.
There is. I really like, you know, around the middle of where your eyes would be, there's absolutely nothing there to distract, nothing at the top center, bottom center, or anything like that. A lot of space on this interface. It's really cool. Oh, look at this! Nestea doing it again! Minigun predicted it. He actually already started to forge a little bit earlier. And that's going to make this...
What if he's going to try to...
He's not going to... I think he's going to play exactly like the last game. Okay. He's going to block Nestea's expansion.
Yeah, I mean, like just putting 1 cannon there, I wonder how much that would do. Of course, after dealing with this natural stuff.
You know what's interesting? In Control used to do this all the time. He cannon the Zerg's natural at the start. And I did it for a while, too. And it was a great move until Zerg started figuring out exactly how many drones to pull. They wouldn't pull too many or too few to not be behind. And of course, Nestea has that overload there, so we can see it coming. But sometimes those retro builds are actually good to bring back. Because people might forget, like, oh, I have to pull exactly 4 drones or something. If I pull 6, I'll be behind economically. Even if Tansel can, if I pull 2 or 3, I won't be able to kill it. And that's pretty cool. But I don't think he's going to do it. Nestea, again, he's such a veteran of professional StarCraft. Nestea is not the guy to pull retro build against. Remember, this guy won 3 GSLs in a row, or not in a row, but 3 GSLs are about, I think it was an 8-month period in the late 2010 and throughout 2011 as well. So,
oh my God, that's actually so important. The Overlord just died from Nestea, which means he's supply blocked, which means this Queen can't get started, which means he can't get that creep tumor down. But I mean, he wasn't able to in the last game either,
exactly,
so it's like, how much of an impact does that have in the game? But, you know, nice little win there for Minigun as far as taking down the Overlord. At first, I thought the Overlord was kind of a distraction to try to soak up some shots.
I think it was.
It was.
And Nestea just it was close. I mean, it literally was very close to the edge of that pylon range. So it was definitely a distraction. It was just not executed quite 100% perfectly.
This time, Minigun getting the whole position on the ramp, does not want those Lings to get by. Things already going so much better for Minigun this game.
You know, he's got to do. He's got to be ready to build. Oh no, there's a rock, so he can't actually build a building. He's got to be careful because he wants to send the Zealots to chase the Zerglings out. Because the Zealots can beat the Zerglings, guys. It's not like those Zerglings could beat the 2 Zealots. But if he sends the Zealots after those Zerglings, Nestea would try to juke the Zealots using extra speed as Zerglings and then run past the cannon. And the cannon is only going to take out 1 Zergling. And if there's a bunch of Zerglings in your base, they get scout information. So look at that. Minigun. Oh, they juked him.
They're trying to sneak by, and he's going to get at least 3 into his opponent's main base. Not a gigantic deal, but again, the scouting intel, it's going to be annoying for so long. You can't actually track down a perfectly micro Zergling until you get a stalker out. The probe is trying to get away.
Losing that 1 probe. I mean,
some mining time too.
Yeah, losing 1 probe's not the hugest deal, but every little bit counts, especially in a game where both you and your opponents, your additional expansions have been substantially delayed by the opening. That means your worker production is so limited. And Protoss is a race where your worker production isn't limited by your resources. So even if you have a good economy, you can still only produce probes at a limited rate. So Minigun knows there's no threat from Nestea because he's seen the opening, he already has a couple Zealots and a Stalker out. But even though there's no threat, he still can't put all his money into probes because he only has a single Nexus. So that probe is a little bit harder to recover than it would be for let's say, Zerg. Of course, it's, you know, the counterpoint is now he can pressure with these units and prevent the Zerg from joining up freely, especially to that 3rd base. There's going to be 1 Queen there, but if there's not enough creep when that Queen gets there, it can actually be ran down by those Zealots.
Mothership Core on the way as well here for Minigun, so that can definitely help out the cause. You know, something else that's pretty interesting that I know a lot of people watching can relate to. You know, when a Ling sneaks by, you know that feeling, you Protoss players. I mean, kind of what goes through a person's mind when that happens, it can be rattling. It can really throw you off your game. So Minigun needs to, you know, stay calm and play how he knows and not let that affect him too much.
Oh, if Minigun can find that Queen at the 3rd and kill that, the Militia Core will be totally unopposed.
That's targeting it down. There we go.
Yeah, he's not going to get the hatchery, not with the reinforcements. But if he can get the Queen, he can be very cost efficient when there's nothing that can shoot their Militia Core into air. As it is great micro by Minigun, the Stalker distracting almost all the Zerglings. The Zealots taking them out 1 by 1. Now the Zealots moving back to a choke point in the mineral line.
Queen is taken out, and a great position here from the Zealots trying to maximize their efficiency against those Lings. Meanwhile, the Stalker running away from those Lings across the map. It's not dead.
Minigun's 3rd is almost up. His Mothership Core actually liked the decision to retreat here. Yes, he probably could have killed 1 more drone, done some more damage to the hatchery before he's forced away, but he knows he is in a good situation macro-wise. He took his 3rd so fast. He put some good pressure on the Zerg early on. And so you want that Mothership Core back defensively because the worst thing is if you're forced to use energy on a recall, then you don't have that planetary Nexus.
Yes.
Or
Photon Overcharge.
Photon Overcharge, exactly. Or if, let's say, just having a Mothership in front of your base, you can see if the Zerg is coming to attack. You can see Banelings coming in, Roaches coming in, and warp in the additional reinforcements you need.
Ling's trying to sneak on by Minigun a little bit too good for that, and, you know, there's a reason he did this on this map. This is like the perfect map to make this happen. You only need 2 gateways to wall off your 3rd base. And you can get down there, you can get that down very fast. So I'm wondering, are we going to see like a bazillion gateways being placed down behind +1 into, you know, a 3-base all-in type, well, not really all-in, but a 3-base push?
There are a lot of these cool gateway builds where actually you...
And it would hit right before the Spire finishes, by the way.
It would, but the fact that he's gone 4 gases, and he's already gone to Robo, I don't think it's going to happen. If you get this many gases and a Robo, it's really hard to actually get a good attack going before the Spire completes. If you skip the Robo and go straight to 8 gates off only 2 or 3 gas, then you can hit it exceptionally fast, and against a build like Nestea's doing, you're going to be in great shape. But scouting the Spire,
there's Stargate.
Scout from... Yeah. I would even go double Stargate.
And that's what he's doing.
That's what he's doing. Brilliant move. If he knows Nestea aspired that early.
Unless you scout that. Could we see a series of crazy mind games here?
He's not going to scout it. He's not going to scout it.
Not going to scout it.
And that's so important that Minigun denies that scout. Because if he does scout it, he's either going to get corruptors or he's going to tech switch. But now, if he makes 12 mutas and there's 6 Phoenixes ready, those mutas are going to do nothing. And then going forward, Minigun, all the Zerg gas is in useless units.
Yep.
And
not working on upgrades, not working on other stuff. It's all pretty much into those mutas. And if those mutas don't do damage, even a +1 weapons upgrade being added on here for Nestea.
The Zealots are going to be very hard to stop if the mutas don't have map control. That's what's really important here. The mutas are meant to get map control. If the double Stargate play denies that, oh no, if the Overseer sees it.
He's still not making mutas, by the way.
Because he wants to scout, he's suspicious.
Yeah.
Nestea is such a smart player.
Corruptors.
Yes.
Boom. As soon as he scouts the 2 Stargates, he's making 7 Corruptors.
Great play there by Nestea. And that was so brilliant to not get the mutas, because what does he see? He scouted everywhere, right? He scouted 90% of Minigun's base with that first Overseer, and he saw nothing. Now, there's 2 assumptions. Okay, 11-minute mark, my Protoss opponent has nothing. He's either like bad, or he's hiding double Stargate, or he's hiding something, right?
Yeah.
And so Nestea, of course, knowing Minigun is a great player, sending that secondary scout to before he invested all his money in mutas. A really heads-up play.
So I have a question, Mr. Axlaf.
Yes.
Let's say Minigun scouts these Corruptors, which I feel like he should soon. What is his response to seeing them?
I really like going for Storm and Charge lots in this position. And I still get Phoenixes, because Phoenixes are faster than Corruptors. You can still harass, and you can still scout. And then if you see the Zerg doing a road switch, you add in Immortals, you already have the robotics facility. You can even get Phoenix range and actually micro against Corruptors, especially with attack upgrades. You can even just go full Sky Toss. Get your initial Phoenixes, like he's doing right now. He sees the Corruptors, and then just switch to Void Rays.
That's exactly what he's doing. 2 Void Rays in production. Now, this Fleet Beacon. Is that for the range on the Phoenixes?
It is. Okay. It is. It's for the range and also additional attack upgrades. He's actually not upgrading his air attack. I kind of like to see him do that. But now he's warping in Stalkers. Devoting gas to Stalkers almost means he may not be going for a full Sky Toss competition.
Now,
normally you would just go Zealots if you were.
Nestea has been able to get a 4th base up. He's going to try to secure this 5th base. He's got 102 Harvesters.
So many drones.
17 drones in production, Nick. Oh my God.
This is Nestea, guys. This is what he does. People think Rhett makes drones. Nestea is like, nah. I'll show you guys how it's done. And I love this play. If you know the Protoss...
114
yes.
Harvesters. Go on.
And I mean, at first, you're like, well, that means you can only have 80 food of army. But no, he's going to turn like 30 of those into stack defense at least. Once he has the extra minerals.
All right, well, the drone count is going to go down a little bit. I don't think Nestea cares that much, considering he has a bazillion of them.
Ooh, a Warp Prism harass here, I guess it'd be the 3rd base of Nestea.
Yep.
And Nestea, these Zealots have upgrades. Nestea Zerglings are just now getting upgrades, but this is a lot of Zealots to handle with just Zerglings.
And only Corruptors in the air.
Yeah. This is actually, if a Zerg goes for Corruptor Zergling, you can often just kill them with Zealots and Archons potentially.
Phoenix is still taking out drones at that 3rd base. The Zealots eventually getting cleaned up. Of course, the Warp Prism taken out.
Hatchery,
taking out the hatchery. The Warp Prism taken out by the Corruptors, and we have Minigun setting up a 4th base behind this, still adding on Void Rays. Look at the units tab. He has 4 Void Rays with 2 more in production going into Colossus.
Void Rays is a great move. I still kind of wish he was upgrading the air attack. He's going to commit this much into air, but the Void Ray Colossi is going to be so strong because he's already tacked the gas production of Nestea, and he knows there's all this gas in Corruptors. So one of the counters to Void Ray Colossi is things like Vipers that can pull out. You're skipping Templar, right?
Right.
And if you skip Templar, Vipers become a great threat. But he knows there's Vipers aren't really in the picture if the Zerg doesn't have that much gas and they spend it all on Corruptors.
So Minigun has killed 20 workers, and Nestea is still at 111. Just saying.
Look at Nestea's army.
Yeah, that's
it's all Banelings.
So,
but Banelings don't hit Void Rays.
No, they don't.
And they're not particularly great against Colossus either. It's going to come out of the force fields, and Minigun's got some great force field control. Here's the massive bus coming in. The Corruptor harass heading towards the main.
He's got Colossus there as well. The Corruptor's not going to do much over there. But
not very effective at harassing him.
Stare at the probes and make them scared.
They're like, if we were mutas, all those probes. Oh, they pick off a Void Ray.
Yeah, you can camp the production of the Stargate. That's actually pretty smart. Yeah, now, Minigun is going to stay back a little bit for now. He's gonna
I
poke
don't
out
see
a bit.
Nestea winning this battle. He's got so much resources banked, though, that he can repop the army very fast.
He can honestly make 30 mutas if he wanted.
Yeah, I think that's what he's planning to do. He's going to send in this army, and then he's just going to rematch. He's got 2 attack upgrades on here, getting an armor upgrade. As long as Minigun hits his force fields well, this is not going to go well for Nestea. Oh, he's going for it!
Let's see if he let's see if he cares that much, though, because again, I feel like we're gonna see a big remax.
I think he's trying to force a prismatic alignment out, and he wants to wait for that to wear off before going in. But honestly,
oh, Banelin's gonna be sent into the third base, taken out of the gateway. He might go straight for that Nexus. Well, killing the rock. That was a little confusing sequence of events. But the Baneling's gonna make it through into that third base, trying to enclose into the Protoss army of Minigun, but Minigun with perfect force fields, taking out the Corruptors with the Void Rays. But let's look at that production tab from Nestea and see what comes out. And there they are. There are the Mutazilings taking out that third base. And Minigun needs to scout this tech switch. What's the perfect response here for Minigun right now?
He could actually move. I know he probably should move across the map. I don't think he has quite enough Phoenixes. Just making more Phoenixes getting range and or going for a Storm.
He's got 4 Templar.
Oh,
Storm.
Archons. You know, if he groups Archons and attacks, I don't think Nestea can stop it. And Nestea realizes this. He's making a ton of spines, but they might be too late.
10,000.
He might be forced into a base race without having a massive stack defense.
10,000 resources lost. To 5,000.
The spines might be too late.
It might be. Minigun needs to identify this and hit that right now. I don't necessarily agree with going for this base. Maybe.
Just send the Zealots.
Yeah, just send the Zealots
somewhere else.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, does he see the Mutaflak countering?
I'm not sure he does. Oh, now he definitely does.
Oh, easy to start remaking Phoenixes. This is a tough spot, though, because he doesn't have the Mothership Core. Oh, he does! He does! It's with him! Recall!
Recalling back to the natural expansion. Surprise, Muta's going straight to the main base saying, I see it, but I'm going down here. Muta's very fast indeed.
Oh, wow.
Heading for those targets, going to try to take those down as fast as possible so that Minigun can't repop the Phoenix count. Storm still has not yet started as far as I have seen. Another Stargate being added on here from Minigun. It feels like that's the best way. 2 more to try to deal with this. And Muta's kind of getting zoned out a little bit. Stalker's trying to get some key shots off, but Nestea only losing about 6 or 7. 11 more Mutas in production.
Nestea's used up his entire bank, though, and the food is still just about even. So I think this is a great situation for Minigun. He's got so many Stargates in production. If he can stabilize his defense, wait for Phoenix range, then he can push out and use the Phoenixes to defend. But he's got to stabilize first. He's got to wait for that Phoenix range so he can really out-micro the Mutas. His army's postured very well. I don't think he should try to even retake that base right now. 3 bases is
he
enough.
already mined, like that was the third base he took, so he mined a decent amount. I mean, it's nice to have it back, but...
Oh, Minigun! He's not careful. He just lost a series of units there.
Gotta be careful with that.
You gotta keep your units together.
All right, very tense moment here. Minigun.
He doesn't have Blink either, actually. He's just starting it now.
He has a lot of Stargates pumping out Phoenixes,
Yeah,
but with
this
so many
Nexus
meters on the
can't
field.
defend it.
I don't know. Okay, range is about to finish, which is great.
Oh, but he's
Another
losing
Phoenix.
Phoenixes.
Every Phoenix is so important here for Minigun at this point in time.
Losing to Stargate, not that big a deal. He's got plenty more Stargates.
6 Phoenixes on the field.
He's got to keep that Phoenix count high and then just make sure to focus on rebuilding that. Stabilize their defense and just mass Phoenixes if you decide to go that route. Because he needs to get up to about 20 Phoenixes with the range upgrade to really start putting that into this Muta count.
Gosh, losing another Phoenix there. Nestea with so many Mutas. 55.
You know what's actually really big? The Mutas are 2-1, and Minigun never got an upgrade for his air until just now, starting one.
Trying to slowly wail away at the Mutas.
There might be too many.
This Nexus keeps getting denied, and Minigun running out of options, losing another Mutalisk, or another Phoenix.
It's just so many Mutas.
Wow, Nestea is so good.
It's just too many Mutas. That's all there is to say. Like anything they look at,
here's
just
the
dies.
new Nestea build. First, you make 120 drones, and then you make, wait for it, 56 Mutas. Standard, right?
He's about to get 2-2 upgrades for the Mutas. He's going to Hive. That's not for some Hive transition. It's for the 3rd upgrade on the Mutas. Minigun with a Desperation attack. He's going to make it through this. I mean, the Void Rays and Colossus will break the defense, but back at home, the Mutas are just mopping up absolutely everything.
Yeah.
This is great play by Nestea. Just sticking to his strengths, not trying to get to those high-tech fancy units, saying, I'm just going to stick with, you know, the heavy multitasking and the macro-demanding composition of heavy Mutalisk, and it's working out great for him.
7 more in production,
But
by the way.
you know what? If this actually gets to a base race, this is a base race Minigun can theoretically win, because in theory, the Phoenixes with the perfect micro will eventually kill the Mutas, right? They're
Yeah.
actually doing it.
They're
He's
doing
picking him off.
Decent shot, down to 48.
But his main army's actually
Nestea is down to 48 mutas
down to
with
48.
11 more in production. Yeah.
Minigun's food is so low, but it's because he lost.
GG.
Yeah, not enough.
Nestea, so good and still good.
Yeah.
Very commanding play there in game number 2. Going for the mass drones and then going for the mass mutas after throwing away Lings and Banelings.
It was that tech switch. It really
Yeah.
caught Minigun off guard.
Yeah.
That's really where, he had a bunch of sentries. Whenever you win a battle versus Zerg, maybe mass hallucinations. Or to send forth some Zealot counterattacks everywhere and at least
Just find out what's coming up
exactly.
next. What's coming next?
Because if he, let's say, had a 30-second heads up, 30-second faster Phoenix range, 3 more Phoenixes with 30 seconds extra production time, and all of a sudden the situation, every time your Phoenixes shoot, if you have 3 more, you're killing 1 more meatless like every volley pretty much. So the number, you keep decreasing the meatless number, and it doesn't build up to that point where it's all of a sudden unmanageable. Because right now, that many mutas is unmanageable. Unless you somehow have like 20, 30 Phoenixes, which of course Minigun couldn't get. It's just
I mean,
too
he
many.
never researched Storm either, and that's the kind of decision you have to make as far as, all right, I don't have a lot of gas to work with, so do I want to go for Storm, or do I want to add on these Stargates? But I agree with your point from before where, right when he saw the Spire, he immediately threw down 2 Stargates. What happens if he throws in a +1 air upgrade right there, and he really gets started with those air upgrades, and then maybe goes in the direction of mass air? How different does the game unfold? A lot of interesting things we have to consider, but the end of it all means Nestea takes down Minigun 2-0. He's going to be advancing to the winner's match, and he's going to play the winner of Apocalypse and Phoenix. We're going to talk about that after we come back from a short break. Don't go anywhere.